In the last few videos, I've been banging on a lot about how you can use deliberate practice to get good at pretty much anything. Well, today I want to give you the results of a 2-month experiment that I've been doing. I've been using deliberate practice to improve my touch typing speed, and today I'm going to show you how that went. So recently I've been doing a lot of this and a lot of this. That's right, I've been working really hard on trying to improve my typing ability. So why am I working so hard on my typing? Well, quite simply, I wanted to test deliberate practice. I wanted to test deliberate practice on something that was easily measurable and something that I could do regularly on a daily basis. I wanted to see how effective it was. So let's get straight to the point. Have I improved my typing speed at all? The answer is absolutely. It's gone pretty well indeed. Before I started this experiment just over 2 months ago, my average touch typing speed was 114 words per minute. Every now and then I would get up to like 125 words per minute and very rarely 130. Now, having done 2 months of practice, my average is 131 words per minute, and occasionally I can get up to 146 or 147 words per minute. That's quite a big increase. So over 2 months, I've managed to increase my typing speed by 15%. Happy days. That is a damn good result. This is an especially good result given that I was already in the top few percent of typists. I was already pretty fast to begin with. So what can we conclude from this? Well, this is just another piece of evidence to show and to prove that deliberate practice really does work very effectively. So how do you actually become a faster typer? What program did I follow to make this happen? Firstly, I'm going to talk about a few technical lessons that I learned over the last 2 months, and then I'm going to give you a very practical action plan for you to follow to improve your typing. So point number 1, and this is really important, you have to get outside your comfort zone when you're typing. And if you think about typing, there's 2 main components to it. There's accuracy, and then there's just the speed at which your fingers move and at which you type words. So my first mistake was this. In order to try and improve my typing in the first week or so, I really tried to force myself to type faster. I was focusing on that speed aspect of typing rather than accuracy. This was a big mistake, and one thing I've learned over the past 2 months is that getting your accuracy so that you're typing at pretty much 100% all the time is your highest point of leverage if you want to type faster. Accuracy really is king, and only when you get to a really high level of accuracy consistently should you then try and do exercises to actually improve the speed at which your fingers move and at which you type words. The next points that I want to make technically about typing, I can't take credit for those because they come from a guy called Shawn Romo. He is an absolute animal. Check this guy out on the keyboard. Man, that keyboard is begging for mercy. Look how fast he is typing. I sought out Shawn Romo because he types consistently at over 200 words per minute. There aren't many coaches around for touch typing, world-class coaches that I can use to give me guidance. So in the absence of a coach, I tried to find the best typist I could find to see if they would give any advice about how to get better at typing. Thankfully, Shawn actually published a great post talking about some technical pointers for anybody if they want to get faster at typing. Point number 2 is that you should vary your speed while you're typing. When you're typing easy, short words, words that you've done before, you can blitz through them at light speed. But when you get to more complex words, then Shawn says you should slow down to ensure that you get that accuracy. And the reason why it's so important is, I covered this slightly in point 1, but it's incredibly expensive if you make a mistake during a word. It can really make a hit on your word per minute count because that entire word gets invalidated. So if the word is 10 characters long and you make one mistake, you've just lost 10 characters from your total character count. That's pretty expensive. It's far better to slow down and make sure you get the word correct. Tip number 3, also from Shawn, is that you should really train yourself and try and consciously make sure that you're looking at the next word ahead of the one that you're typing. The reason for this is to try and keep a very constant speed and that you don't get any unnatural pauses in your typing. One of the biggest speed killers while you're typing is if you have to keep just stopping and starting. It's far better if you can just keep a nice rhythm and keep that flow going. So those are your 3 technical points. Point number 1, accuracy is far more important than trying to force speed when you're practicing. Point number 2, you can vary your speed while you're typing in order to make sure that you get the more difficult words correct and you don't make any mistakes. And point number 3 is that you should focus on the word ahead of the current word that you're typing in order to ensure a nice consistent rhythm and flow in your typing. Okay, so now we've done the technical tips, let's look at a practical program that you can follow to get your typing speed up over the next few months. Firstly, I have to tell you something very important. If you want to get results out of this program, you have to commit to doing at least 20 minutes every single day for at least 1 month, but preferably 2 months. I can guarantee you that if you do not give it that commitment, if you do not give it a long enough period of time for this to work, you really just won't get the results and it'll be a complete waste of your time. So make a decision now to either commit to that time commitment or don't do this at all, because you'll just waste your time. So I'm now going to give you 3 exercises that you should do on a daily basis to improve your typing. These are the 3 exercises that I basically used for the last 2 months and they work really well. Exercise number 1 is copying text from a Kindle or a book or some kind of publication and focusing on accuracy. So here on screen now you can see me doing this, and the basic idea is that you cover your monitor screen with some kind of piece of paper or something that prevents you from seeing the text that you're writing, and then you copy text from a book or a Kindle or some kind of publication. After each paragraph you can then take the sheet of paper away from the monitor and see just how accurate you've been. While you're doing this exercise, it's really important that you focus as hard as you can on trying to make sure that you produce that perfect paragraph. You want to copy that text absolutely perfectly, get 100% accuracy. That's what you're aiming for every single time. This isn't mindless practice, you have to really focus on it. It's a great exercise because it discourages you from using the backspace and making corrections, because you really can't. You can't see what corrections need to be made. So you end up just focusing on accuracy 100% and on the text that you're trying to copy. The second exercise you should do on a daily basis is what's called a 10-minute marathon test. There's a website that I've been using for the last 2 months called 10fastfingers.com, and that's what I suggest you use. One of my friends in a touch typing group that I belong to, which I'm going to talk to you about in a minute, has created what's called a marathon test, which is 10 minutes of just continual text for touch typing. It's a great little exercise for you to do on a daily basis. It just takes 10 minutes, but it really requires focus and it can be quite draining, especially when you just get started. If you do this for the first few days, this is going to be tiring for you, but that's good. It shouldn't be easy. The third exercise I recommend you do, which is very similar to the one I just mentioned, but this is a 1-minute speed test. So whereas the 10-minute test is more about endurance and staying in the zone for a long period of time, this 1-minute test is like a sprint. You want to try and get through this as fast as possible, get the highest word per minute that you can get. You should find that you get a higher word per minute score on your 1-minute test than you will your 10-minute test. So those are the 3 exercises I recommend that you do on a daily basis. Number 1, copy text from a Kindle or a book, at least 1,000 words per day. Exercise 2, do a 10-minute marathon test. Exercise 3, do a 1-minute speed test. Do that on a daily basis and you will get fantastic results. By the way, here are some footnotes about this program that might help you psychologically get through this and get the results that you're looking for. Firstly, when I came into this experiment, I didn't think I could get any faster than I was already. I already thought I was pretty fast, and in my head I just thought there's just no way I'm going to get any faster than this. You might think the same thing, and if you do, just ignore it, because our brains are just absolutely terrible at knowing what we can and can't do with a bit of practice. The second thing is, and I mentioned this in my last video, but this has to be focused. You cannot enjoy this, okay? You're trying to do something that you can't currently do. You're not just sat there having a nice old typing session. You really have to focus on improving your accuracy, improving your speed, improving your technique. You are always trying to work on something. Always requires focus, and it's going to be draining for you. If it's not draining for you, you are not doing it correctly. The final point I want to say is that you will probably expect to see results sooner than it will actually take. So for me, after 12 days or something like that, I was getting a bit frustrated because I've been doing 12 days of practice, but I wasn't getting any faster, and I started questioning whether I was doing the right stuff or wondering whether I was maybe at my genetic limit or something like that. Be warned that this is just nonsense thinking. It takes at least 21 days to get any kind of good results from this. That's what I noticed. Don't forget, when you're practicing, when you're building a skill, your brain has to form these new connections, these new neural pathways. That takes a certain amount of time. So don't get discouraged if after 2 weeks you've been working hard, you've been sticking to the schedule consistently, but you're not getting the results. That's just part of the program. That is to be expected. So here are some resources for you. Here's the link to the website where you should sign up to practice your typing. It's called 10fastfingers.com. Here is where you have the link for the 10-minute marathon test. Here is for the 1-minute sprint test. And here is for an awesome Facebook group called Let's Type, where there are some absolutely ridiculous typers in there. When you start to practice your typing, join that group, and they will give you plenty of tips and tricks, but also they run like competitions and stuff like that keeps it very interesting. And it's a very supportive group, so I recommend you join it. So in this video, I think we've shown that deliberate practice works really rather well for typing. If you want to get better at typing, then you need to do exercises on a daily basis. The 3 exercises that I recommend are as follows. Firstly, copy text blindly from a book or a publication or a Kindle. Secondly, do a daily 10-minute marathon test on 10fastfingers.com. Finally, do a 1-minute speed test. While you're doing these tests and while you're practicing, you should be focusing on accuracy and keeping a nice steady pace with your typing so you don't have any prolonged pauses or unnatural pauses that slow you down. Understand that you'll probably expect to see results faster than they actually come. You'll need to spend at least 20 minutes per day, every single day for 3 weeks before you can start expecting results to happen. So those are my recommendations for increasing your typing speed. If you have any other tips or tricks that people might find useful for increasing their typing speed, pop that in a comment box below. I'd love to hear from you. And if you're somebody who wants to improve your speed, then good luck. Join 10fastfingers.com and join our Facebook group. I'll see you in there. I'll race you, and I'll kick your ass.